Onda, my sisters and brothers. Welcome to Movement Es Medicina. Thank you for joining us. I'm SuperMarkRock, Dr. Mark A. Lopez. Movement Es Medicina is just that, a movimiento, a movement. This is a space dedicated to motivating gente, the people, the community, to build healthy habits and rituals that transform lives. Each episode, I sit down with mi hermanas y hermanos, dope, educated individuals to explore their active lifestyles, mental well-being strategies, and the brilliance that they carry every single day. So welcome to Movement Es Medicina. Speaking of dope, educated individuals, I am joined by Elvis Rivera, a.k.a. a dope author, dope entrepreneur, dope businessman. Brother, thank you so much for joining us on Movement Es Medicina, my man. Welcome.
Thank you, brother.
Welcome.
Happy to
Welcome.
be here. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me. I look forward to the conversation, brother.
Amen. Amen. So, mi gente, give me a moment to share with you this good brother's Bible, okay? Elvis Rivera is a first-generation immigrant from Guatemala, a finance professional, an author, a community leader passionate about creating opportunities for underrepresented communities. He works in wealth management and has dedicated much of his life to leadership development, financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and community advocacy. Elvis serves on several nonprofit and civic boards and is the author of Adelante, The Long Way Forward. This book is centered around resilience, identity, and the immigrant experience. Outside of his professional and community work, he is passionate about long-distance running, personal growth, and fatherhood. Woo! Brother,
Indeed.
I love it, man. I love it. I love it. I
Thank
love
you.
it,
We
man.
share a lot of that in that, the long distance running and stuff. So I look forward to community. Man, seeing the background, man, it gets me back to it. I was telling you before we started, I'm running my fourth marathon here shortly, so I'm
All
getting
right.
pumped.
When is it? When is it?
June 20th.
Let's go.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
go,
Yes,
brother.
sir.
Let's go,
Yeah,
man. Let's go. We got to find one to rock together, man. We will.
we
I know
do.
you.
We
I
do.
know you say you're gonna hang it up.
You just got me thinking. Hanging my jersey, but yeah, if you don't, what did they say? Don't tempt me with a good time. I'll come back out of retirement right after going into retirement.
That's right. That's right, brother. That's right. Well, Ellis, I want our listeners, our viewers, to get to know you a bit on a personal level. So I want to,
Yeah,
before we start the conversation, I want to ask you a few lightning round questions so our
sure.
listeners and viewers to get to know you. Okay. So don't think about
Absolutely.
it too much. Just whatever comes to mind. Just your first reaction. Cool.
All right. Yeah,
All
yeah, yeah.
right.
Family Feud style. Let's do it.
All right, Listo. Here we go, man. Your favorite U.S. city.
It's got to be Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota, bro.
Minneapolis,
That's where I
Minnesota.
live,
All right.
and the history. So let's just go with that one.
Minneapolis. Okay. A.M. or
Yes,
P.M.
sir.
workouts.
AM when
A.M.
before the rush starts, 5 in the morning.
Woo. That's right.
Perfect,
That's right.
perfect.
Okay. Wu Tang or a Tribe Called Quest.
I'm gonna have to go Wu Tang, brother.
Wu-Tang,
With
Wu-Tang.
the caveat, they're neither are my favorite, but if I have to choose, I'm choosing based on logo. I'm not even gonna lie. I can't front. Love the logo.
All right, all right. Your least favorite workout.
Ah man, right now it's gotta be legs.
Leg
I
day.
love legs when I'm in the momentum, but starting off, it's tough, man. It's tough.
It is.
So I
Agreed.
think calves, especially,
All right, all right.
it's rough.
So I
It's
got to
rough
give you a Minneapolis question, brother. Your
for
favorite
sure.
Prince song.
Purple rain, purple rain,
All right.
purple rain. Absolutely.
Your favorite international city.
Guatemala, Guatemala, de donde soy.
All right, all right. How many
Guatemala
marathons have you
City.
ran, brother?
Three,
Three. All right.
three marathons, two halves, and June 20th will be my fourth.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Eso, man.
Yes, sir.
Your
Yes,
first
sir.
tattoo.
You know what? My mom was super against tattoos, so as a bright kid as a bright kid as I was, I got her name tattooed. So then, to get his blessing, and it worked. I showed her, she was like, "Oh, I don't like it, but it's my name, so I love it."
I love. I
And then
love
it
it.
took off from there.
That's smart, bro. That's smart. That's smart.
Right,
Hell
right.
yeah. I love it. I
Yeah,
love it,
yeah.
man. Where are you
Yes,
traveling to
flag
next?
right here, huh?
Where are you traveling to next?
I'm actually pretty excited for this next trip. I'm gonna be in Boston to do a 1 week course with Harvard University.
Man, look at you, brother. Keep
Young
doing the damn
young
thing, man. Love it.
Yelp. You guys, they have it across the cities. They choose 10 people from, I believe, 14 cities. It's called Young. It's Yelp. It's called Young. I forget the name. I should know. Oh man,
All right.
it's YALP though, and we'll be there in June, right after the marathon actually.
That's man, rock it, man, and
Yeah,
rock the gear in Boston, man. Rock the
absolutely.
gear.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
go to hype song during a workout.
Dreams and Nightmares by Meek
Meek
Mill.
Mill. That's right, brother.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's
Hold
right.
on, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was
That's
finished?
it. That's it. That's it. I love it. I love it, bro.
Yes, yes.
All right, man. Your next tattoo. What are you getting next?
Oh man, this was funny. I don't know if it'll really be my next, but this is gotta be silly. Me and my fiance, I just proposed to her in January. We joked around
Yay!
about getting matching tattoos, just as a fun conversation. I don't know that it's a true plan, but other than that, I don't have any other tattoos, so that's my answer for now.
All right, all right, I love it,
Yeah.
brother. All right, you can take a deep breath, hermano. Take a deep breath. That's it. That's a lightning
Right?
round. That's a
All right.
lightning round questions, man.
All
Again,
right.
an opportunity for our viewers and listeners to get to know you on a bit on a personal level and connect with you on some of your interests. So,
Sure.
brother, let's jump in. You know that I'm a huge mental health advocate, a wellness and
Absolutely.
movement enthusiast. Man. I tell gente to aim. People that I speak to that I met for the first time aim to get 20 minutes daily of
Yeah.
movement. Daily.
Yeah.
My question is about your wellness and active lifestyle, brother. When did
Yeah.
that wellness journey begin for you?
Man, it's been a long journey. So, I mean, I'm sure we'll delve into it a little further as we carry the conversation. But I come from my origin stories is one, the reason why I chose to write a book because I felt that it was my responsibility, and I continue to feel that it's my responsibility to do something with all the experiences that I've had in life. A lot of them not fun experiences, so they weren't easy to live through. But I learned a lot through them, and I feel that that is it's been in a weird way somewhat of a luxury that I can't keep to myself. I need to share with the world. I feel like we all have a destiny. We have all reason for living, and so it's up to us to spread whatever it is bestowed upon us. So I say that to say I would say my mental health journey started when I was 15, 14. I had a lot of traumatic things happen to me in my youth.
Okay.
And once we made it to America, 5 years after, it started to show up as panic attacks. The post traumatic stress disorder started to show up as panic attacks. And I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
I remember being in freshman class one day, and I got this derealization episode where everything felt fake, like I was watching myself through a lens, as if I was watching a movie.
See.
And I didn't know what was going on, and so I kept it to myself. And then anxiety kicked in, and I went into this deep depression, but I didn't know what was going on. And so from there, I guess I'll keep it short, but from there, that's where my mental health journey started. And then later, when I had my first son, he was born in 2007. 2 years after he was born, he was diagnosed with autism,
Okay.
and so I had to then again kind of you know look at mental health. How can I be a better father to him? Um, and so that's mental health. And then as I grew older, kind of experiencing different things, I started to value physical health. So I
Okay.
started to get in the gym, and I actually didn't pick up running until 2020 when I went through obviously like we all did. We went through COVID, and living here in Minnesota, we experienced George Floyd, and
Right.
I also around the same time I divorced from my first
Okay.
marriage. We were together for 15 years, and so I had the trifecta: COVID, George Floyd, and my divorce going on. And from that, the anxiety kicked in again,
Okay.
and I needed to have a different release that was. I was forced into running, I think, because we were stuck. The only thing that we could do during that time, it was either, kind of go crazy at home or run. That was the only thing that you could do outside, and I'm a big extrovert. So everything that I was struggling with at the time, I
See.
took on running. So long answer, but,
Wow, man.
yeah, it's been ongoing, and I think it continues to go. I think it's
Amen, man.
I think health is kind of like that, the CE of life, right? The continuing education.
That's right. That's right, brother. No, no, amen to that. Agree. It's lifelong learning, man. I mean, that's the thing. Call it wisdom, call it, because we're at a specific age that we're
Right,
prioritizing both physical and mental health. But
right.
as you said, man, and I appreciate your vulnerability and sharing and
Absolutely.
transparency, brother, with our listeners. That you wanted to become a better father. I mean,
Right.
first and foremost, I mean, you knew you were dealing with your anxiety, your traumas
Yeah.
as early as 15, as early
Right.
as 15. So your motivation was, okay, I'm dealing with this, but how can I be a better dad? Saying,
Right.
and
Yeah.
then when fast forward years later, you're like, wow, I need to now focus on me as a whole person, not
Yeah.
just fatherhood, but
Right.
because of what's happening in the world around me. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And it
Absolutely.
hasn't stopped since. And it's beautiful,
Right.
Matt. You prioritize that, and you've done what you need to do, whether it was running or whatever modality it was at the choice. I mean, but you
Yeah.
found like, hey,
Right.
running is I have to do this for me and my
Yeah.
health.
Absolutely.
But why
Absolutely.
running? I know you said that's what was accessible, but por qué running?
Well, why was it running? Dude, I'm a huge extrovert, like I said, and I remember, literally, we were stuck at home in Minnesota for obviously COVID, like everybody else, and
Mm.
because of what was going on with the protest over in South Minneapolis here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think what was it? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I got into books quite a bit as well, because I was stuck at home. I'm not gonna just sit around and do nothing.
Yeah.
And so I started to read books, and I started to read what's his name? What's the brother's name? The Get Hard dude. I forget his name.
Oh, David Goggins.
David Goggins.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy started reading. We kind of formed a book club of two. Him and I would read books, and we would read. We would give suggestions to one another. And our goal was to read one book a month or one book every 2 weeks. I can't remember what it was. And one of those books was David Goggins' book, and he obviously talks about long distance running, and obviously he's a whole different level of distance running,
Mm.
but. He put the idea of my head of marathon. I didn't know what a marathon was, to be honest. I just thought it was you run for a long time. I knew it was 26.2, right? Back then, 5K marathon was all one and the same. I didn't know.
Right, right.
So then uh, I challenged my buddy, or we challenged one another, like, hey, we should run a marathon. Why not?
Wow.
Yeah, and
Wow. You jumped
so
all the way in. You
we
jumped all.
jumped on the wagon because we got into this really like we
Woo.
gotta create movement. To your point, like
Yeah.
okay, how do we? Because we would goal set together.
Mm.
The way the book club started is we would meet every month and share with one another our goals for the month. Like this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. This what do you want to do? Okay, and then we try that for a month or two. And then later we started to think like, okay, what are our goals overall? We can sit here, come together and do goal setting each month, but from a macro perspective,
Hmm.
what are we planning for? Who is it that we each want to become, right? So in 10 years from now, what is who is Elvis 10 years from now?
See.
And what does Elvis need to do to become that person now, 10 years from now, right?
Yeah.
And so part of that was I want to be healthy. How do you become healthy? By exercising.
Mm.
Okay, we can't go to the gym now. We're stuck at home. So what else can you do? You can run. You can bike. Okay, well let's bike and run. And so part of my goal setting was run X amount of miles per month. And what is going to keep me accountable? Signing up for a marathon.
Right.
I used to also bike. I got into biking a lot.
Okay.
So I did during that time I did my first marathon, a ton of 5Ks, and 4 century bike rides.
Man,
I got super fit, brother. I got
I
super
love it,
fit.
man. I love it, man.
It was awesome.
Wow, bro.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
So
you went all the way in on health. You went all the
we
way in
did,
on
my
health.
buddy and I. It was a tough time, brother.
Yeah.
So it was, how they say, choose your hard.
Yeah.
It was
I love it.
either choose hard of staying at home and drown in my own sorrow,
Hmm.
without having control of, when the pandemic was gonna end, or fixing, racial inequality here in the country,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
do something about, you know, my personal life,
See.
and so, running provided that outlet, and it was great,
No, I love that, brother.
Initially, it was just goal setting, and then actually being out there, doing the miles, it felt freeing,
Hmm. That's right.
So
That's right. No, agree, agree. And I often tell individuals, and even on previous episodes, Matt, running is healing for me. It's all a part of my healing journey
Right.
of generational trauma,
Yeah.
personal life, professional traumas that still dealing with to this day,
Right.
especially as brown people in the United States and where we come from and what our elders and ancestors endured. And running allows that space of prayer and healing and moving meditation for me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I know, your brother. You mentioned that you're very much an extrovert and needed an outlet to seek, but also this allowed you to set goals with your homie
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
set health goals. What I want to ask you is, how did that running, that the journey of running, form healing or clarity for you? Yes, you were able to set goals. You were able to have an accountability partner by setting up with your homie. But how did it serve of a form of healing for you?
I think I suffer from anxiety, as I mentioned, general anxiety. And I think part of that is, or part of the reason for that, or I don't know if it's a trait that everybody who suffers from anxiety carries, but I'm a deep thinker. I always tell my fiance, when there's an issue or a hurdle that I'm facing, before I talk to her about it, my mind has already thought through 1,000 different scenarios of how that can play out, right? And so, to answer your question, for me, the therapeutic part of running was I was able to just be with myself and my thoughts. Although I was running and focusing on my form and my making sure that I finished the miles that I set out to, I was able to just be in my thoughts and whatever was going in my head, I was able to just think through it, like all the way through 10 miles, 15 miles, whatever it was, the hour, 2 hours, 3 hours that I was out there on the road, I was thinking through it, or listening to audiobooks and then digesting what I heard. And usually I would listen to audiobooks that related to whatever hurdle I was facing or whatever concern or whatever thought I was trying to digest. And so I was kind of in a weird way able to be my own therapist while I was running. And I found that to be very healing. And I think the act of just controlling the outcome of that challenge. If this morning I set out to run 10 miles at 6 in the morning, whether I finish or not, I have control over that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
I have to create the right mindset to be able to finish that challenge. And as I'm completing that challenge, I'm thinking through whatever else I have concerns about, and then you reach mile 9 and you finish and it feels like a win. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how else to describe it, but it was a therapy session with a medal at the end, I guess. And that was therapeutic.
No, it is, brother. It is. And I think that clarity, you hear that time and time again within the running community that you
Right.
receive, whether it's on the treadmill or you're out and about on the trail or the street,
Right.
but the time that you're dedicating to self.
Yep.
And I often reflect of how this is my space of prayer. This is
Right.
this is my space to connect with me.
Yep.
It's my time. It's me time. But
Yeah.
it allows me to really just pray and
Right.
experience pure joy at its purest for me. Because
Yep.
running like you is something that I fell in love with later in my
Mhm.
life that I never sought out to be a runner, but I can't imagine my life without it. But it's
Yep.
because of that
Absolutely.
joy that it brings me the opportunity
Yeah.
to be to prayer while movement. And
Yeah.
I think also during that time for me, it allowed me to come to the realization that, damn, I do need professional help. I
Right.
do need to see a therapist or a psychiatrist. While it is
Right.
therapeutic, 100% agree, agree.
Right.
But to the professionals in the mental health space, those that need that type of support, por
Right.
favor, seek it as well. And I think
Yeah.
that's what running allowed me to come to the realization, like, wow, I feel
Right.
good in the moment, but I know it's
Right.
deeper that I need to speak
Yeah.
to someone professionally.
Absolutely.
It allowed me that space.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that's huge. A third party, I think it's always good. I mean, I always say that, if whatever thoughts, whatever issues we have, if we continue to ruminate on them, we're always going to keep coming back to the same answer because it's only a conversation of one.
Hmm.
So if you welcome another person, a trusted person,
Amen.
you might get a different outcome. You might learn something different. You might take a different approach to solving whatever concern you have. And obviously, these are trained professionals, and
See,
of course, you have to take the time to make sure you find the right person. But once you find the right person, man, I love my therapist, and I mean that. Like I
amen. Yeah.
really for this person because she has helped me through so many things, and just by way of offering her own contribution to whatever conversation I'm having about whatever issue I'm experiencing.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, thank you for sharing that as well. I too am a huge fan of both my therapist that my wife, my partner, and I see,
Yeah.
but also my psychiatrist that
Right.
began to develop a strong relationship with. So, thank you for sharing that, because kudos to them, kudos to the industry, the profession, brother. Because
Right. Yeah.
there's some answers that we just cannot seek
Right.
and deal with ourselves, brother. So
Yeah. Yeah.
appreciate that
For sure.
vulnerability and transparency, man. So, brother,
Oh,
you just wrote a book. You just
yeah.
wrote a book. Felicidades. You just
Thank
knocked
you. I
out a
appreciate
book.
it.
Brother,
Yeah.
Pa'lante, the long way forward.
The long way
So
forward.
dope, so chingon. Tell us about it, brother. Tell the listeners, the viewers about your book.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's interesting because I've been writing for the last, I don't know, 10 plus years. Kind of going back to what I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, I feel gratitude in a non-traditional way for all the things that I have experienced in life. Obviously, in real time while I was experiencing those things, I wasn't grateful. There were very hard lessons that I learned, very hard experiences, but hindsight, I feel appreciative for all of the things that I experienced because they formed the person who I am today. And so I have been writing for the last 10 years to kind of to put out a memoir.
Okay.
And I still will put out that memoir, but through a conversation with a friend who's also a publisher, she asked me a question like, "Have you ever thought about putting out a coffee table book before you put out your whole memoir?" And I said, "Why? Why would I do that?" And she said, "Well, you would be able to engage your readers a lot more if you kind of create an introduction first." And so I kind of toyed with that idea. After that conversation, I just toyed with it, and at the end of last year, I started to kind of look through all of my readings, or my writings, excuse me, and I thought about putting out a coffee table book around principles. What have I learned throughout my whole life? And so that's how Palante was born. It's centered around 14 principles for living, leading, and becoming whole through my eyes, through my journey in life. And obviously, a lot of that journey is my upbringing, but also my experience as an immigrant from Guatemala and everything that I learned through the process. And so, in the book, I talk about 14 different principles. And I hope to connect with people who read it. And my goal is to release the full memoir in 2027. And so
Yes.
that's in the works. It's in
Yes.
the works. But this is it. This is the book right here.
Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see it for those that are watching.
Yeah,
Pa'lante.
yeah,
There it
yeah.
is, man.
So what's interesting, and people don't might not think about this, but obviously Palante, the title, this bird is supposed to represent the national bird in Guatemala, el quetzal.
Quetzal. Mm-hmm.
Um, and the background, I don't know if you can see, it looks like a mountain.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty meaningful. When I grew up in Guatemala, we live right behind a landfill. And when I visited back in 2018, I took a picture of that landfill, which which is that. That's
Oh,
what I saw every
wow, man.
landfill. And right where I'm standing, the vantage point where I took that picture, steps behind me, maybe 10 feet behind me, is my father's grave. So that picture is super meaningful to me for those reasons. And so I think the metaphorical value of that is kind of what I put into the book. My life through my eyes, kind of healing also through the losses that I've experienced through life. RIP to my dad.
Rest in power, senor. Rest in power, brother. I appreciate that. Listeners, viewers, go get this brother's book. Por favor, get his book. I cannot wait to read it. I cannot wait to support in 27 the
I
memoir as
appreciate
well,
it.
my man.
Yeah.
Please support this brother's work.
You
Please.
you can find it everywhere, but the easiest way to find it, if you care to even just research more about it, ElvisRivera.com. All the information's on there. So thank you, brother. I
Yeah,
appreciate you.
I love it. I
Yeah,
love it. Palante
adelante.
means to press forward, to keep moving no matter what,
Onwards. Yeah,
right? Onward. How
yeah.
does that spirit of Palante show up, not just in your writing in this book, but how you literally move, brother. How you
Yeah.
literally move through your day, whether it's running, whether it is in a boardroom as a board member or in the community because you're a community activist as well. How does it show up, Brian?
I think it's one of those lessons that I talked about earlier, right? It's life. We never in a weird way as living in survival mode from living in Guatemala in poverty, homelessness. When I moved to the United States, we experienced some hardship, and that's what led us to move to Minnesota. And our first home in Minnesota was a homeless shelter here in Minneapolis. And I remember throughout that time there was there was no other option but to move forward. So it takes a different meaning. It's not just an onwards, you have a choice. So move forward. You have a choice to move forward. There's no choice. I don't know if you can relate, but when I was a kid, Mom, I'm hungry. We don't have food. Well, okay, we'll keep moving forward. We'll figure it out. You
Figure
know
it
what I
out.
mean?
Hmm.
So when we were homeless, I remember literally when we got to Minnesota, my mom didn't know the language. I
Mm.
was 9, my sister was 12, my mom was in her early 30s. She didn't know the language, and so I mean, you think about it. Like I don't know to your listeners, what would you do in that situation? For us, it was no other option but to
Right.
keep moving forward.
See.
And so that I think the essence of that carries with me in how I saw my mom navigate life without many options.
Mm.
And she always found a way to keep moving forward in a way that didn't violate her values or her integrity.
Hmm.
Whether that meant, okay, well, I have to work double shifts now at McDonald's to survive, to help me and my kids get out of this homeless shelter, or whatever it was. She just kept moving forward. There
Mm.
was no this ends here or this there's no option. There's always an option, and the option starts with the choice to keep moving forward. And so that whether that's a boardroom where we're conversing about whatever we need to do for the organization to keep moving forward, or in community when we're facing an environment like we're facing right now, or what we faced in 2020. There's always, where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's education, there's a path forward. Y cuando hay comunidad unida,
See.
seguimos para adelante.
Eso.
You know what I mean?
Eso. That's right. That's right. Agree. Agree, brother. And I mean, you're a testament to that. I mean, not only from your story, but you continue to grind, you continue to push, you continue to elevate and uplift our
Right.
gente in these spaces. And I mean, again, a big fan of you and the work that you're doing there
Thank
in
you, brother.
Minneapolis and throughout the state, brother. Please keep doing the damn thing, man. Yes, the subtitle of your book, The Long Way
Yep.
Forward, right?
Yeah,
It,
yeah,
I believe it mirrors the ethos of endurance running. It's not about
right.
speed, it's not about your pace, but it's about sustaining throughout
Yeah,
this journey of
yeah.
your run. What advice, brother? What advice would you give to someone in La Comunidad who is just beginning their own long way forward, whether it is around wellness, around life, around career? What advice
Yeah.
would you give them?
There's I don't know if this will land with the listeners or if it'll land with you, but there's a rapper by the name of Nipsey Hussle who
Yes,
who you know who
yes,
who unfortunately is no longer with us,
that's
but he
right.
has a song called Perfect Timing. And I think in that song he says, I'm gonna butcher it, but essentially the essence of what he says is perfect timing feels like I'm too late, but I'm still great despite of my mistakes. No
Mm,
matter how long it takes, something about getting there, regardless of how long it takes. And I think that's a very true, especially with long distance running, or whenever you're experiencing a challenge in life.
I love it.
Society, the world around us will tell us you have to do X, Y, and Z uh, by this time, or you have to finish a marathon in 4 hours so you can qualify for Boston, or
Right.
you have to have your professional career figured out by the time you're 35, or you can't have kids unless you have this big huge career, or if you have all these things,
Yeah.
all these ideas that we tend to look at as this is the perfect way to do it, and that in turn we at times internalize it, and we might look at ourselves as failures when we don't.
Mm,
And so my advice would be, don't subscribe to that. Subscribe to your own journey.
that's right.
If you wanna run a marathon, run a marathon. Run your marathon,
That's right.
though. You know what I mean? If it takes you 6 hours, well, then it takes you 6 hours. If it takes you 8 hours and you
That's
don't
right.
happen to not get your medal, then you still ran your 26.2.
That's
What
right.
does that mean to you? It doesn't have to mean anything for a person looking from the outside in for it to mean something to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so do it your way. Over the weekend, I went to a graduation. My fiance's daughter graduated, and in the sea of people graduating, I saw my vision landed on one person. It was a visually older person who
Mm.
was graduating with her bachelor's degree, and I kept watching her. She decorated her hat and everything, and she was super excited
Mm.
that she finished her master's. I was excited for her just observing her. I can't imagine. I didn't get a chance to talk to her, but can you imagine her journey? I would
Dios
guess if I
mío.
had to guess, she
Oh,
was like
yeah.
60, and she's in the
That's
sea of
beautiful.
20 something year olds finishing her bachelor's. Her journey is no more important or less important than the others. She finished whatever, her marathon, and it meant a
Mm.
lot to her. I'm sure it helped her, and just
That's
like
right.
those other kids, getting to a point where they're gonna go and pursue their career. They're running their own marathons.
Sí.
Everybody in that audience, every one of those students, in my opinion, were deserve to be there, and we all deserve to be happy for them. And because they were running their journey in their own time, in their
Mm-hmm.
own way, you
Amen,
know.
brother. Wow, so much to unpack there, brother. I appreciate that, and rest in peace to brother Nipsey Hussle, man. Gone way, way
Right,
too soon, man. Big fan of
right,
his as
right.
well. Felicidades to you and your fiance, man, for the graduation. Ooh, that's,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
This is
That's
her.
fantastic.
She's got three in
Wow.
college, and my son just graduated high school, and my daughter's 15. So we'll be graduating through the
That's
years,
right,
man.
brother.
It's a
That's
beautiful
right.
thing. It's a beautiful thing.
That is a beautiful thing. Amen to that. I cannot agree with you more. I mean, recognize our own journey
Right,
and being just okay with that journey. Man. It's unique. Our journey, our stories are unique in the
right,
sense that it's not linear by any stretch of the imagination. It's our
right,
story. It's our
right.
journey. Man. Recognize that whatever you did set to accomplish. So I appreciate you saying that,
Right.
brother. I appreciate you. Man. And you often push others, uplift others, specifically our gente and those that have been historically excluded or marginalized. You've dedicated a lot of your professional life to uplifting those individuals and and the gente. How does that
Yeah.
energy, brother? How does that energy fuel your personal wellness and your capacity to show up for others? How does
I
that do for
think
you?
I think I don't know where this is from. I'm a spiritual person. I'm not a what do they call it? I tend to be very spiritual, and one of the things that I've learned through my journey in life and spirituality is that we're better together. Everything that I've done in life, everything that I've achieved, there has been someone else. When I really think about it,
Mm,
uh, someone along the way helped. Someone along the way either helped through inspiration
yes.
or through direct motivation, direct help. And I was able, in my opinion, I was able to achieve certain things because people took the time to invest into me, whether it was mentors, whether it was people just walking past and happened to, take notice of what was going on and contributing to whatever outcome.
Hmm.
And so I think we're better together. We can achieve more as a collective. And I think we as individuals from our community or other communities, what's that saying? Iron sharpens iron,
That's right.
right? We become stronger, we become sharper the more we contribute to one another, right? So you are doing your thing, you run marathons, I run marathons, but there might be something that I can contribute to you and vice
Amen.
versa. And if
Amen.
that little something can make you a little bit better, it would makes us as a collective a little bit better as people
100%.
that enjoy that long distance running. And so to me, I feel that I owe it to those that come after me. I owe it to my ancestors, excuse me, to do my portion, my contribution, so that those that come after us can continue to thrive forward. And so I don't see it as a it's almost subconscious that I do it. I feel like it's part of our humanity to help one another. You know what I mean? We all don't have it figured out, regardless of how we might look good on Facebook or LinkedIn, right? None of us have it figured out,
That's it.
and sometimes it takes just for us to be together in whatever challenge we might be going through. You know what I mean? And so, um, that's a big part of how I just navigate life. I love seeing other people succeed.
That's right.
When those people help others succeed, it's just a beautiful thing. So if I can contribute to that, I find it an honor to partake in that capacity.
I love that, brother. Thank you for saying that, man. I believe 100% that we are standing on the shoulders of so many giants, legends that paved the way
Absolutely.
for us.
Yeah.
Black and brown communities, indigenous communities, those that have been systemically excluded in this country historically, man, that we're standing on the shoulders of those that kicked down doors for us to do
Right.
this, be privileged to have this conversation, for you to write a book, for me to have a
Right.
podcast, you know what I'm saying, to get our
Right.
degrees, to be
Right.
professionals, man, to kick
Absolutely.
down the doors for others. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Absolutely.
And I want to be a good future ancestor. I want to
Yeah.
be
Absolutely.
a good future ancestor, brother,
Yeah.
and do my part, like you said. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I acknowledge those that came before me. I pay
Yeah.
homage to those that came before me and paved the way for me. So what can I do to do my part for those that are right behind me
Yeah.
in that
Absolutely.
next generation, bro? So thank you for saying that, man.
Yeah.
I could not
Absolutely.
could not agree more, bro. One of the core messages of Movement Es Medicina, brother, is of course recognizing your dopeness. That's something I
Yeah.
say often. Your worth, your
Yeah.
self resilience, just your overall dopeness. Was there
Yeah.
a specific moment on your journey, brother, that you fully recognized yours? And what did it take to get there? Because I believe,
know
brother, I
what?
believe you're
Yeah.
a dope individual, brother. I believe
I
you are.
appreciate
Yes.
you.
Yes.
I pride myself. The one thing that I do pride myself in, outside of the awards, outside of the accolades, what I really pride myself in, and I think I get this from my mother, is my ability to form relationships with other people. And I think that comes through just being genuinely curious. Like when you and I met last year, right?
Yeah.
Like we each could have sat in our own chairs and like not communicated, not talked, but we grew curious about one another, and we learned a little just tidbits about one another, and we connected through Instagram, and now here we are, right? And I
Yeah.
think I've had so many lovely moments that started just like that, just
Mm.
curious about what outside of your name, who are you? What makes you, and even not even your professional, what's behind this person that I'm seeing, right? And so I think the genuine curiosity to want to create connections. I think that's my superpower, if I could call it, if I could call it that. And I get that from my mother, honestly. I saw her from a very early age. She can kick off a conversation with anybody, and it's always a genuine conversation. It's
Mm.
not a transactional. What can you do?
See.
What can I do for? What can you do for me? It's always how can we be humans? How can we connect as human beings? And if there's any alignment, then let's pursue it. If not, not. But I care. I genuinely care about the person that I'm talking in this moment right now. You're the most important person in this moment right now, and
Yeah.
my full attention goes to that. And I might not remember names, but I remember conversations. I
That's right.
remember the important things. I remember when I talk to different people. Their kid is special because X, Y, and Z. They're getting this big vacation or whatever, because I really genuinely get curious about people, and that helps me in my career, but I think it helps me live a fuller life as well. So
Mm.
I don't know if we want to talk about superpowers. I think that would be the one.
I love it. I love it, brother. I mean, I could not agree more. I mean, without question. I mean, just the 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 genuine curiosity that you had when we engaged in our first few interactions, brother, but also just making me feel like I was the most important in that space. Genuinely inquisitive and just genuinely interested in who I am as an individual, brother. And
Right.
I could not agree more, man. I think that's a
Yeah,
part, one aspect of your dopeness, my man. I think that's
I
one
appreciate
small
it,
aspect,
man.
brother. One small aspect. That's right.
Likewise, likewise. Yeah. If we had more time, I'd love to go back and forth and learn more. I love it, man. I feel like I have a here. Let me read something from my book, if you don't mind, and
Please
I
do.
think
Please do.
this will share a little bit about who I am and what I believe in, and I can expand further on that. But I share this just as a before the introduction. I shared a poem, I guess you can call it,
Hmm.
that I wrote one day when I was kind of just analyzing life and kind of thinking through things. I before I read it, let me say something. I find that there's power in contemplating our own mortality. It has a
Mm.
way to kind of reset us. We can get caught up and lost in the whirlwind of life.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that when you sit back, sit with yourself, and truly analyze life and contemplate your own mortality, then everything else becomes all the other worldly things become unimportant.
Mm.
Like if you have, your career is important, of course. Your car that you drive, it sure is important. But when you put it through the lens of this could all be gone tomorrow, you can reset and think about, okay, what is it that I'm really doing? What is it that I'm how is how I'm living my life the way that I want to continue to live my life. And so one of the things that I wrote is, and when it all eventually ceases to exist, the applause, the facades, the fleeting connections, what will remain is what we were, who we were when no one was watching, when there was no reward to be won, no role to be played, only the quiet truth of how we chose to be. There will always come a time when we each must sit with the sum of our choices, the love we gave, the harm we caused, the kindness we offered when no one asked. In that moment, only what was real would matter.
Mm.
So live now as the person you would hope to meet in your own deathbed. Live in such a way that when that hour arrives, your heart can rest easy, unburdened by the weight of what was left unsaid,
Yes.
unloved, or undone.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the essence of how I view life.
Mm.
There's all these things, right? It's this beautiful life that we have,
Yes.
especially like you said, standing on the shoulders of our ancestors. We have opportunity. We can become the richest person in the world, or we can become the fastest runner out there. But what will our family say about us?
Mm-hmm.
How will our kids remember us? How will how is our community gonna remember us? I think to me that's what matters. Regardless of the title, regardless of the accomplishments, regardless of the accolades,
Mm.
we're here for a reason. We all have a destiny.
Amen, brother. I love it, man. I those words, I mean, it's resonate on so many levels. That poem, man, and I mean, something that I guess again calling it wisdom, calling it at this age in life, but thinking about that a lot, seeing elders pass, transition, and more to come. I'm blessed and fortunate to experience that
Yeah,
because of my age, but definitely have to get busy living. And I
yeah,
appreciate you sharing that message because just so much of us, especially communities of color, man, are in
right.
this daily grind, this hustle
Yeah,
mentality,
right.
and
Yeah,
take a break, maybe a week, maybe two out of the year, to
right.
experience that life, that thing called
Right.
life, brother, and not
Right.
living. So I
Yeah,
appreciate you sharing those words, brother. Thank you for that.
of
And you
course.
said it was before the preface of the book. It's the first,
Yeah,
right? Okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
This was I took a trip to I can't remember where I went, but I got the chance to kind of just sit with myself, sit with my thoughts, and journal.
Mm.
And part of my journaling was that. And I went back to it, and I put it together even better. And I wanted to start the book with the resetting of that. Read this book. Yes, it's a lot of principles that I believe in, but first you have to reset on the importance of life, in my opinion. What
Hmm.
the true things. If you're coming to this book as, is it gonna help me become a millionaire? Sure, it will, maybe, but you have to have your foundation set.
Right.
What is it? Why are you pursuing becoming a millionaire? Why are you pursuing becoming an executive director? Right? I think self awareness is
It's
key
key.
in
Hmm.
life, right? Like, who are we?
Hmm.
Who are you as an individual? Why is it that you're pursuing all these things? And what does it mean? What does life mean in general to you? There's a book that I recently read. It's called 4,000 Weeks. I don't know if you read it,
Mm.
but it's about time management. But the overall message of that book to me that stuck with me is the idea that in America, the average life is 80 years old, right? And if you do live the 80 years, you would have lived 4,000 weeks,
Mm.
right? I'm 39. I'm 41 years away from my 80-year mark, right?
Hmm.
So what does that also mean in turn? That I have 2,000 weeks left, right? And when you put it from that perspective, in my opinion, then it really forces you to think, am I spending each of those weeks in the way that I truly want to spend them? Or am I spending them on the grind? Am I spending them away from my kids? Am I spending them on just being focused on earning money, money, money so I can spend it and be this big shot? Or am I really doing the things that matter? Because there'll be a time where I'm at week 2 or week 3, or, counting backwards, right? 3, 2, 1. And
Yeah.
then you'll be in your deathbed and like, okay, was it all worth it? Did I live life the way that I wanted to? Did I
See.
leave the right impact, or were people proud of me because I was employee of the year 20 years in a row, or will they be happy for me because I was there for my daughter when she had her first baby and I made the situation or the experience feel that much more special, you know? There's no right or wrong answer. It's
Yeah.
just something
So
to,
something the individual, something
right,
individual, right?
exactly.
Brother, I love that. You've spoken a bit to this, and I want to have you give you the opportunity to elaborate a bit.
Sure.
I'm not sure if you've seen or even heard me say, "Recuerda tu porqué." Remember your why
Yeah.
in your
Hmm.
journey, professional, health. What is that why that you chose to go down this path? You have decided to show up. You work out. You're a professional. You're an author. You're a community advocate and
Yeah.
mobilizer. Can you share with our listeners and viewers, brothers, your why?
Yeah. And this will be a little vulnerable, so I try not to spill water from my eyes as I tell it. When my mother chose or decided to get on the journey to leave Guatemala and come to America, we knew that our father couldn't come with us. He unfortunately had a very rough upbringing, and it took him down the wrong path. And so our coming to America was kind of fleeing away from violence and different things. And so we weren't able to tell my father that we were going to move, or we were going to leave. And so I remember my mom told us, or she asked us, "Hey, I want to go to America. Do you guys want to go with me, or you guys want to stay with your dad? But if you stay with your dad, you can't tell him. You know how he gets." Uh, so I made the decision. I said, "Yes, I want to go with you." As hard as it was as a 9-year old to make that decision. And so that week, I knew that we were leaving. There was going to come a day that week where we're going to just take off in the middle of the night. And one of the days that week, I had woken up before my father purposely. I knew that he slept in on Saturdays, and I woke up early, and I stood next to his bed, and I kissed him on his forehead, and I synced our breaths.
Mm.
Um, he breathed in, he breathed out, I breathed out. In my mind, from that day forward, I was gonna breathe for the both of us.
Mm.
Obviously, that doesn't make sense. One sneeze and the thinking is gone, right? But in my head, in my young head, that made sense. From that day forward, whatever happens after this, I may not see you again, but I'm gonna breathe for the both of us.
Mm.
Whatever I accomplish is gonna be for the both of us because I understood that his journey was tough, and he unfortunately didn't have the choice or the resources or the options to do more with his life. He was unfortunately a person who lived through this hardship and forced him into a life of crime, and I knew he couldn't do more, or he felt that he couldn't do more. And then we moved to America, and unfortunately 3 years after we learned that he had been murdered. And so I still carry that moment when I sat next to his bed and made that promise to him. And so from there forward, everything that I do is for the both of us. But my why is even beyond that because I know that there's other kids that also have to go through that. And so my why is yes, one for my father, but also two, if I can contribute anything that that can mean that other kids don't have to go through that, that's my why. If I can share a tidbit of information, if I can mentor a kid into the right direction and that makes the difference in their life to change their their narrative, that's a job that well done. If I can advocate in local politics to make sure that we as a community receive better resources, that's my why. If I can, whatever it is that I can do, share some financial literacy, share a book that maybe hits close to some people and it forces them to kind of reset. That's my why, so that others don't have to go through hardships that we don't need to, so I can stand on the shoulders of those that came before me and create a way for those that come after me.
I love that, brother. I love that. Thank you for your vulnerability, for sharing with our listeners and viewers your why. That's beautiful, man. And just wow, man. Wow. I mean, I just in awe, bro. I mean, what you and your hermana and your ama have experienced in your journey, man, just I'm in awe, brother. I mean, I know that, again, what you've overcome and what you've endured over your life and what you continue to push, how you continue to press forward and uplift in the process,
Adelante.
brother. Yeah, adelante.
Adelante siempre,
That's it.
brother.
That's
Adelante
it.
siempre.
That's it, brother. That's it. So, brother, tell me, por
Yeah.
favor, what comes to mind when you hear or you see Movement Es Medicina?
I think I love it, brother. I love it because it's true. You know, the strongest phrases or the strongest mottos are those that are true. Movement is medicina, but in a non-traditional way, right? It doesn't come packaged. It doesn't, you don't package a marathon and take one in the morning and feel better in the afternoon, right? But it's the movement that you create. I think it's very similar to my palante, right? Palante suggests movement, right?
That's
Moving
right.
forward, and it is medicine because the longer we sit in fear or we don't move or whenever we're facing something hard, the longer we'll have to sit there. You know what I mean? There's no advancing if we don't move, and so we have to move as part of our solution, right? Which is we seek medicine to find a solution, right? And when we feel sick, we look for medicine to make us feel better. I think in the hardships of life, we should seek movement to find our medicine to feel better, right? So, yeah, I love it, brother. I love your movement. I love what it stands for, and I love that you not only talk the talk, but you walk the walk or you run the run, right?
So,
Right. So I appreciate it, brother.
thank you for that, brother. Appreciate the kindness and trying to again continue to uplift and motivate us in these spaces to prioritize our mental health in the process, man. And by
Absolutely.
speaking to mi gente on their journey, because everyone
Yeah.
has a story, everyone has a unique journey. I mean, we are one of one. We're limited edition, right? We're one of one, brother. And I
Absolutely.
want our gente, our community, your community there in Minneapolis and throughout Minnesota, but also nationally, to hear your story
I
as
appreciate that,
well,
brother.
brother. So thank you for that. Thank you, brother. Where can the gente find you? Your book, IG, Facebook, LinkedIn. Where do you want to be found, brother? Where can
Yeah, yeah. Everything can be found via my website, elvisrivera.com. Pretty easy. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. You can just search me by name there too, Elvis Rivera. But the easiest way, elvisrivera.com. It's all packaged in there. And yeah, I'm happy to connect for like I said, we're better together. Iron sharpens iron.
That's right.
I love having. I'm a big extrovert, so I get a kick out of talking to people. But
That's
come
right.
check out the website. Come, leave a message. However, I can be of service. I'm down.
Yes, bro. Thank you for that, man. And my educators that are watching, that are listening, if you're looking for a speaker, looking for someone to come to your campus, your school, your classroom, please look this brother up, man. He's dope. He's dynamic. Just has a tremendous story that he must continue to share with our gente and our young folks. So please, educators, if you're looking for a speaker, this is your man right here.
I appreciate
Brother,
that, brother.
Hermano, I am grateful and truly am grateful for your time, for joining us, our community on Movement Es Medicina. I'm constantly inspired by you. I believe you're
Likewise,
sacred and a blessing, brother. So please,
likewise,
please
brother.
keep doing your thing. I'm glad we're connected. I'm glad we're continuing to build alongside one another. Like you said, iron sharpens iron, brother. Let's keep moving forward.
Absolutely.
Pa'lante. Pa'lante, man.
Thank you, brother. I
That's
appreciate you.
right. That's
Thank you.
right, man. Gente, remember, por favor, recognize your dopeness. I believe we are all dope, educated individuals. Like this episode ask us questions, give me feedback. Follow me on IG at Movement Es Medicina, as well as at SuperMarkRock. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast at Movement Es Medicina. Mi gente, gracias for watching, for listening this evening. Paz y luz.